Now joined by a man who has a better winning percentage currently than Nick Saban and the great Lavelle Edwards of BYU, Toledo head coach Jason Candle. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys. How we doing?
We are fantastic. I don't know if we're as good as 4-0 in your young head coaching career. 36 years young. What's the first thing that went through your mind when you got the head coaching gig at Toledo before the bowl game last year?
Well, grateful to have the opportunity, and certainly, obviously humbled to be in a place where, so many great coaches have walked through these halls, and in a place where I think the tradition is really outstanding, in a city that really wraps its arms around its football team. So to get an opportunity to be a head coach and for the first time, and then ultimately to do it in a place where winning is important, and it's really important to the town and the city. Obviously super excited about the opportunity that was presented to myself, and then probably the second thing was like, oh shoot, we got to play Temple in a bowl
game. And that turned out for the best. Toledo won that, and so 1-0 and then 3-0 for a total of 4-0. The dynamic of the schedule is interesting, Coach. So you guys have played Arkansas State, Maine, and Fresno State. BYU's played 4 Power Fives to start the season. What do you think of this matchup on a Friday night in Week 5 of the college football regular season?
Yeah, it's funny. I think, throughout probably last spring and talking to, people when, we're going to go out to BYU, we're going to go to the game. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a really good test for us very early in the season. And I'm thinking, man, the game's a little later than I really probably thought it was. But, yeah, I mean, BYU's played 4 really good opponents and, some strong teams, and certainly we got a lot of respect for the program there and what you guys have been able to do, and the outstanding history that is Cougar football. So we know we got a tremendous team sitting in front of us, and we know we're going to have our hands full for 60 minutes. That's for sure.
How do you gauge how good BYU is based on what you see? Because if you just looked at 1 and 3, that's one thing, but I'm sure as you break down the film, you might see a different idea of what BYU's like, since those games were close.
Well, I don't pay any attention really to the competition. I pay more attention to watching how guys run to the football on defense, and watching how, what the particular players that we're going to have to face. What UCLA did, or what Arizona did, or what West Virginia did, that has no bearing on what's going to happen Friday night in a football game. It's great to compare things off, in the days off leading up to the game, of scores and things like that. Those are for other people to handle. But as coaches, and my team specifically, we're looking for, like I said, guys on defense that run to the ball, and the spirit and the energy they play the game with. And, if you can couple that with, that great enthusiasm like they have, with some good skill, you're going to makings for a pretty good team. So, the record may not indicate it right now, but I think, BYU's headed for a pretty good season, in my opinion.
First-year head coach at Toledo, Jason Candle, joining us on BYU Sports Nation. When you look at the film featuring BYU through 4 games this season, what's the first thing that you noticed?
Well, I think, I spend a lot of time paying attention to the defense, because I'm just, by nature, I'm an offensive coach, and I think the biggest thing to me is the intensity and the effort that's played with on the defensive line in the front 7. And certainly without getting into a bunch of personnel specifics, I just think that, as a whole, the entire football team plays with a great competitive spirit and plays really hard for 60 minutes. I think it's a smart team. I think it's a veteran team that makes you earn everything that you get. And I don't know if we've totally had that. We've faced that yet this year so far, to be honest with you.
In preparing for this game, there's a lot that pops out about Toledo football right now. 3-0, putting up 43 game, giving up 10, third down conversions, number 1 in the country, second most 3-and-outs to Alabama defensively. I mean, what do you think of the play of your team so far through 3 games?
Well, I think our team has played well. We had a week off last week to try to fix some things that we thought were probably going to come back to haunt us down the road, and hopefully we got those things fixed, and hopefully we got most of those things ironed out before somebody else does it for us. But I think, we've, to this point in time, we've been able to put together 3 good victories. But like I said, those have no bearing on what the future of our schedule looks like, and certainly not Friday night.
Toledo has won 9 straight games on the road, 16 of their last 18. What do you attribute that kind of success to?
Yeah, we've had some success on the road. I think you our guys like to get away a little bit, and they're a close team. They like to be around each other, away from some of the distractions that may be here in a home game. And when you go far away to play, you don't have to deal with 6,000 ticket requests and things like that, and people always wanting to know what you're doing and when can I see you after the game or before the game. Those kind of phone calls and those things that players have to deal with. And once you the wheels go up on the plane, you can kind of sit back, relax, and really lock into a plan and into a game plan, and get to the hotel, handle what you got to handle, and go play the game. But we've been able to be pretty competitive on the road, and hopefully that continues throughout the year because we'll need it.
Cody Thompson leads the country in receiving yards per catch at 32. What makes him so explosive?
Well, he's good with the ball in his hands after he gets the catch. He's got enough speed to get behind you, and then yet he's a bigger, stronger guy that can catch the ball in traffic, and he's got enough elusiveness about him to get out of tackles. So I think he's a complete receiver. He blocks really well. He plays really hard. He plays on special teams. I think he's a really fantastic player for us, and glad he's part of our football team.
The head football coach of the Toledo Rockets, Jason Candle, with us on BYU Sports Nation. He's got a pretty good quarterback throwing him the ball as well in Logan Woodside. For BYU fans that don't know anything about Logan Woodside, how would you explain him as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think he's very cerebral. He's a guy that he's got a good competitive spirit about him. Who's a smart kid and really prepares well. And so far this season, his play has been a reflection of his preparation. And I think anybody at any level who's has that at the quarterback position, can sometimes take a sigh of relief and take a deep breath and let him go do his thing. So, he's played a lot of football for us here in the past. Last year, he was able to sit back and redshirt and kind of watch our starter go through the season last year, and I thought that really helped him because as a freshman and sophomore, he was thrown into action, basically because of injuries, and didn't really have that year to sit and mature and grow and be stronger in the weight room, be better with the game plan. Just kind of the maturation process was sped up for him. So really fortunate to have that year last year, and like I said, he's a guy. The football is really important to him, so he's seeing some rewards for all his hard work.
Coach, have you been to Provo? What do you know about Provo?
I have not. I hear about the beautiful scenery. I've been told multiple times of the great game day atmosphere that we will experience Friday night. And I'm really looking forward to that. To be honest with you, I think I would be disappointed if it wasn't otherwise because it's like I said, it's a program I got a lot of respect for and know the proud tradition of what the program and the university stands for. So we're expecting a great crowd. We're expecting it to be loud. We're expecting it to be a great scenic view prior to the game, and looking forward to 60 minutes of good football.
Just get a nap in. It's a late kick, 8:21, Coach.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure I'll get plenty of a nap when this plane lands back here after the game. It's probably somewhere around 7 a.m. on Saturday.
Jason, great stuff. Congratulations on all of your success thus far, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Friday night.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate the time.